Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Today we are making one of my favorite, we'll call it a meal slash snack. We are making meatballs for dogs. Now, the meatballs we'll be making for dogs are very similar to meatballs you'd be making for yourself, whether you're going to eat those in pasta or like Swedish meatballs, something like that. The main difference is basically what we're not going to include. So if you're making meatballs for yourself, you might put things like garlic and onions and seasonings and stuff like that. Well, we're going to nix those for dogs. Remember, when we're making food for dogs, we're using human grade food, but we're just making it simpler. So not as many seasonings, but just high quality food. So today we're gonna be making meatballs for dogs. We'll call them Mighty meatballs for dogs. It only takes, let's say about half an hour, and the oven is gonna be doing most of that work. So here's how to make meatballs for your best friend. And like a lot of the recipes here, you're probably gonna have a bite too. So here's what we're working with, just 5 basic ingredients. For the meat portion, we're gonna use beef. This is just 80-20 ground beef. You could use other types of meat if you wanted. You could use turkey, you could use chicken, you could use pork, but beef was on sale, so we're just grabbing about a little over a pound of beef here. I've got, these are called super greens. This is a mix of, there's kale, chard, spinach. Again, this was on sale, so this is what I grabbed, but basically for your greenery, you're gonna want kale or spinach, something like that. This was just a mix. A couple eggs, a few crackers, and I like to add a little bit of ketchup. So these are our 5 ingredients, and now I'm gonna show you how to put it all together. Now remember, one of the secrets of cooking is you're always thinking ahead. So even before I combine my ingredients, which happens really quick, I'm gonna preheat my oven. So for this recipe, we are going to heat our oven to 350 degrees so that by the time I get all the ingredients and put them together, I can just pop them in the oven and get cooking. So first things first, let's heat our oven. Okay, so let's combine our ingredients, and for this I'm just using a big mixing bowl. So first thing we'll do is dump in our ground beef, and again, this is just what was on sale. It's just over about a pound of beef, so we will just kind of dump this in here. And then next is our greens. And again, I like to mix things like beef and spinach. Those are very nutritious ingredients, and those are gonna benefit dogs. Kale is a really good nutritious ingredient, so there's plenty of that in here. And we're gonna use, I'm gonna say maybe about a cup. You don't have to be exact. I'm just gonna grab a handful. And it's going to help to really kind of dice this up here, chop this up. So let's chop this up. You don't have to be exact. Basically, we just kind of want small pieces so that everything blends in. Okay. Let's kind of dump that in. Then we have a couple eggs. Now eggs act as binders, and eggs are also really nutritious. They're a great source of protein, so that's just going to benefit this recipe as another high quality ingredient that's super nutritious for your dog. And again, it's going to kind of help everything stick together. So we'll just crack these guys, put them in here. That's 2 eggs. And then I've got some crackers. Crackers are another binder. It's a very traditional thing to use when you're making meatloaf. Often you use breadcrumbs. Crackers are just what I had on hand. I've got about 4 here. So we're just going to crumble these with your fingers. And these are also going to help kind of bind everything together. And then finally, I've got a little bit of ketchup, so we'll just put a squirt of ketchup in here. I think this is a new bottle, so let's open this guy up. They never make these easy to open, do they? I always use the teeth. My dentist would probably be mad at me if he saw that. Okay, so a little squirt of ketchup. Now it's time to combine. I usually use the tools that I have on me, literally on me. These are my hands. So I like to just kind of get in there and blend everything up. If that's kind of an ick factor for you, you could use a masher. You could use maybe even a beater. But if you're cool using your hands, use your hands. Just obviously be sure to wash them afterward. So let's mix this up. And we're going to do this for a good couple minutes. Just again, you want everything nice and mixed together. Okay, this looks pretty good. It's pretty well blended, and again, we'll kind of blend it a little bit more as we roll these things into balls. But basically, you just kind of want it to be pretty well incorporated. And again, if it's a little bit too wet, you can add more crackers. I don't mind it being a little bit moister. Again, these are going to be primarily for the dogs, and I like to give them nice moist food. So here we go. Our meat is all kind of blended up. Now we are going to mix it into balls to get meatballs. So when meatballs cook, they can be a little bit messy. You can have grease come out and it gets kind of icky. So what I like to do is a hack using just a muffin tin. So what I do is I put each meatball in here, and that kind of confines it. Now to make it even easier, what I like to do is lay down some foil in each little indentation. So that way you don't have the grease going into here and then more of a mess to clean up. So I like to put foil down on these, and then also when they're done cooking, each can be individually wrapped. That's the oven. It just heated up. See? So what I'll do is I'm going to put some foil down on each of these, and then it's going to make this whole process even easier. Okay, our foil is down, and yes, if you just had muffin wrappers, you could use that too, although they might leak a little bit. That's why I like to use tin foil. Now it is time to put these in the cup. You can do this 2 ways. You can make the meatballs with your hands just by kind of rounding them up into a ball, or you can use an ice cream scooper like this. So we'll try it both ways. So we're not going to make huge meatballs for this. We're going to make, I'd say, let's just grab about this much right there, and we are going to do the old toss, just like this. Voila, we've got a ball of meat a la a meatball. So we're just going to do this for the rest, and they don't have to be the exact same size, just kind of uniform is what you want. Now, if you did want to use the ice cream scoop method, you would just scoop like this, and then you could use another spoon to kind of mound them. But again, God gave us hands, so let's use what we got, right? So I'm going to fill the rest of these up, and then we will pop them in the oven. One thing I do like using the ice cream scooper for is that they do give you consistent shape, consistent size. So that's a benefit of using this. Now, in case you're wondering, let's say you don't have an oven, or you want to cook these another way, you could cook these in a pan. You could just kind of saute them. I mean, heck, you could even boil them, kind of like albondigas for albondiga soup. If you've never had albondiga soup, by the way, so good. It's a traditional Mexican soup made with meatballs. Fantastic. Anyways, I'm getting off track. So I like to do it in the oven though, because it's nice and easy. Everything gets heated uniformly. It's not messy, but there are other ways to make meatballs in case you're wondering about that. I like the oven method because really you just put them in there, you let them go for about half an hour, and then you've got meatballs. Now there's always the question, let's say I've got 12 cupcake holes to fill here. Will I make it for 12? I think it's going to be almost exact. If you've got a little bit of meat left over, that's fine. You can just save it, or you can add it to some of the others to make them a little bit bigger. But I think we're gonna have a baker's dozen here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of these smaller ones and I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Wash your hands. Okay, we've got a dozen meatballs here. Our oven is heated to 350 degrees. All that's left is to put these guys in the oven and let them cook. It's going to take about half an hour, or until they reach an internal cooking temperature of 165 degrees. And if you don't already have a food thermometer, get a food thermometer. Okay, we're going to set a timer for 30 minutes and let these guys go. I'll meet you back in half an hour. So we are about just over 15 minutes into the cooking process. Let's see how our meatballs are doing in the oven. Again, we have this at about 350 degrees, and oh yeah, those are looking nice. So yeah, they are coming right along. And yes, I know you shouldn't be opening the door of the oven while you're cooking because it lets all the heat out, but hey, this is YouTube. I'm doing this for you, okay? Okay, it's been half an hour. Let's see if our meatballs are fully cooked. Again, we are looking for an internal temperature of 165 degrees. So let's see how these guys turned out. And remember to use gloves because it's hot. Yeah, these are looking really nice. Again, you can see they're kind of nice and brown. That's exactly what we're looking for. But we always want to make sure they are cooked to the proper temperature. So let's check that now. So we'll just take our probe here and stick it in. Climbing. There's 160. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in for just a few minutes longer, and that's totally fine. Again, ovens vary, so that's pretty normal. These are actually probably at 162. I think it would reach it, but just for safety's sake, I'm going to put them in for just a couple more minutes. Okay, I put these back in the oven. They've gone for a few minutes longer. It's been about, let's say, 40 minutes in all. Let's check our meatballs now. Yeah, that looks great. Oh my gosh, these smell so good. Okay, these are looking fantastic, nice and brown. Let's stick our thermometer in just to make sure that these guys are cooked to 165 degrees. And see, because they're in these little packets, there's really no mess. There's not a whole lot of grease or splatter or junk to clean up. Okay, so we are, nice and safe, well over the temperature we need to be at. So these are fully cooked through. And voila, you just made mighty meatballs for dogs. Okay, so that is how easy it is to make meatballs that your dog is going to love. Now let's talk serving. Obviously, you probably don't want to be just giving them meatballs. What I like to do is serve these with something else I might make, like brown rice and barley and lentils. In fact, I have some of that going in out back right now. So I'll probably serve it to them later on with that. What you can do is, if you're not making all your food homemade, you can serve it with their kibble, you can serve it with their existing food, or you can give these meatballs to your dog as a treat. But the idea is that you are incorporating high quality, ultra nutritious, human grade ingredients into a recipe that you can give your dog. Now here's another secret that I like about meatballs for dogs. Let's say you need to get your dog to eat a pill. Like one of our dog, he needs a pill right now. He's getting older, he has some issues, and we have to put pills in his food. Well, guess what? With a meatball, super easy. All you have to do is take the pill, stuff it in, they gulp it down, they never even know. So here we are. These are meatballs for dogs, and again, cooking it this way in this foil means that it also has its own little wrapper case too. So what you can do is wait for these to cool to about lukewarm before serving, and then for the remainder, refrigerate or freeze them. And again, because they're in their own little foil packet, you can just kind of, voila. So that is how to make mighty meatballs for dogs. Again, these are dog specific, but let's be real. These look and taste so good that you're probably going to have a bite too, and that is perfectly normal. Again, this is all human grade food. So thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You're going to find plenty of recipes for dogs here on the Barking Good Chef. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below, and we will see you next time. Thanks.